This is a Daniel Summerall, Haley Terrell video production. Copyright 2023, Daniel Summerall, Haley Terrell Video Productions.
The following video was done at the request of YouTube user at KinnickWilly970. The user asked for me to do a video about my experience with the National Federation of the Blind, NFB. As I am not a part of the organization, I cannot speak for myself. However, I have a friend that is, so she agreed to do this video with me. Once again, shout out goes to at KinnickWilly970. Thank you for your request.
Good Wednesday afternoon, YouTuberinos. We hope everyone's doing well on this Wednesday afternoon. Thomas, Daniel, and Savannah here. In this video, Daniel's going to be asking Savannah questions about the National Federation for the Blind. Now, this video is for Daniel's channel, but I'm also going to be uploading this video to our channel as well. So, without further ado,
I will be.
Without further ado, take it away.
Alright, first of all, good Wednesday evening, afternoon, jeez, really, Brian? Good Wednesday afternoon, once again, YouTuberinos. I really appreciate, Thomas, that you are recording this video for me. And Savannah, greet the viewers, please.
Hello, and welcome to another video, YouTuberinos. I hope everybody's doing well and swell. It's great to be doing another video for you guys.
And Savannah, welcome to Daniel Summer Productions.
Thank you for having me on, sir. I appreciate it.
So, how did your interest in the NFB actually get started?
Okay, so my interest in the National Federation of the Blind got started in the year of 2019, and it was kind of in the mix between 2019 and 2020. Originally in 2019, I had a conversation with the Ivanhoe chapter president. Am I okay to name names to give shout outs in this?
Yes, but do be aware that they'll be cut.
Okay, awesome. I had a telephone conference with the Kansas City Ivanhoe chapter president, Miss Sheila Birdwright. I recorded our conversation on my Braille display, such as my Braille Sense U2, because it's got an MP3 recorder feature. She filled
one of the best features they ever added. That's beside the point.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I just had to say that.
That's okay. We'll get into that momentarily. I recorded our conversation on there, and I started really learning how the organization helps people. I mean, everybody's different, but I myself wanted to learn and make new friends here within my county. I'm not going to say the county because I'm trying to keep my location protected
Well,
as much
right.
as possible.
Right.
Yes, confidentiality is key. So I really just learned that there were, I believe, 52 affiliates within the state. Basically, there's a chapter affiliate for almost every state branch. So, like here for my county, there's a chapter, and then for Cole County, which is the capital of the state of Missouri.
That's not her county, so she's saying it.
Yeah, Jefferson City is Cole County. In fact, Jefferson City is the capital of Missouri. For Cole County, there's also
random geography lesson. Okay, then.
Yes. I'm trying to think of other places. Kansas City has one. Florida, I know, has one. And I just basically learned that the Federation is all about helping people learn different things and providing accommodations for people that need supports. I know one thing Sheila did mention was that NFB representatives go to the school districts for a person or people that are on 504 and IEP plans. Now, for new viewers that don't know what a 504 or an IEP plan is, 504 is a transitional plan. It's basically like, how do I explain this? It's like a vocational plan, but it's more
It's an adult's version of an IEP.
Yeah, it is, yeah. Then there's an IPE where...
IEP.
Yeah, well, there's that, and then there's an IPE, too, that involves agency.
Oh.
Yep.
Sorry. I wasn't sure. Sorry.
Okay, that's okay. You learn something new every day.
Right?
And they basically, a representative with NFB will come to the school and they'll talk with the school teachers. They'll talk with a para, also known as a teacher's aide, sometimes labeled respectively as paraprofessionals. And they'll basically just partner up and ask how can let's just say biology, really brain, I can't talk. They'll partner up, let's just say, with a lab teacher or a chemistry teacher that is in charge of life science or biology, if that's for 10th grade, at the 10th grade level and high school level, or at the college level. They'll talk with the teacher and they'll basically, the representatives or representative will ask the teacher, how can class activities be accessible for a person within a public school can do the activities? Yeah, basically what they'll do is they'll just be like, okay, how can we get XYZ student, and I'm not going to say a name, XYZ student to be able to complete a lab activity with a sighted peer / partner, and what can the teacher's aide or vision teacher, such as full-time vision teacher, do when they're in the class setting with a student, like student A or student B or students A, B, and C. Mainly this will apply to student A or just student X. And I'm not using letters.
Can I ask another question here?
Sure.
Now, when they talk with the teachers and stuff, does the student get involved in any way?
The only time a student will get involved in an IEP is if they are at the high school level. I know it seems like a tricky question. I know some people might say, okay, well, why can't a student come to their 504 or IEP plan when they are, let's just say the age range of 13, 14, 15, 16. 16, they're okay to come. Like 16, 17, and 18. 16, 17, and 18, they're okay to come. But if they're younger, then state law says that they have to wait until they get up into transitional. I don't want to say crunch time, but more so of like transitional departure from high school, per se.
Go into college or whatever.
Yep.
The next step might be.
Yep, and it can apply to a vocational goal as well. Now, I will say this. If a student has a case open with either the adult vocational rehabilitation counselors or a counselor from either a Bureau Education Agency for the Blind or a Rehab Services for the Blind, depending on, what age range that person is, like if they're at the children's services level, children's services specialist A might say, well, it's good that a student needs to come, but they might want to wait until they're a couple years older to kind of understand kind of the logistics of what all is being decided for them at the
Right.
beginning.
Right.
Actually, I can speak on that from experience because when I was in public school, my vision teacher, my full-time vision teacher, and I will give a shout out to her because she has been active in my life. Shout out to Teresa Hyatt. She has been very helpful and the most trustworthy teacher that I ever could have had. She was a big advocate in my life. She had a loving, supportive relationship with my family, and she did what she felt needed to be done. If she got my family's input, they would say yes or no to certain things, but they mainly really supported the fact that she wanted to implement X, Y, and Z. Now, I will say this. A lot of students who go into public school, NFB will recommend that sometimes if the public school is not being able to provide services, they'll recommend that
In other words,
that a student should go to the blind school and get services there. Now, it's different for everybody because I myself have been very lucky to have a full-time vision teacher.
yeah.
But when I was a sophomore, she was forced to give up her position at the public school, and I was basically, in a way, forced to train teachers who really believed in things being their way and nobody, a student say so if the teacher felt that it was right. But then if the teacher felt that it wasn't right, the student would get called out, basically. Now, to anybody who may be going to a public school that may have experienced a little bit of what I'm talking about, this is a classic sign. And I'm not trying to bash school districts in a way, but in some instances, students like that can be looked at as a vanilla blind student where they're forced to basically, in a roundabout way, just suck it up and deal with life as it is.
Yeah.
But I mean, NFB is great with helping teachers out, like with accommodations and how things can be done. Sometimes the NFB will collab with not just classroom core teachers, they'll collab with orientation and mobility specialists, and sometimes if a teacher is lucky, or if the NFB gets lucky, they can be able to collaborate with vision teachers who are actually certified in dual certification to be a vision teacher and a mobility teacher.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on what they deal with within a school district setting, it's very seldom that they will get somebody who is actually certified to do multiple things. In fact, I had a vision teacher who not only was certified in Braille, orientation, and mobility, but she was also a second grade teacher here in the county's public schools, one of the public schools that only specializes for elementary kids. Shout out to Parkhead Elementary. That is where my sisters go to. And the school district there has been great. And again, just know, guys, names and places will be cut out of this video. So really, it's kind of it's more of a kind of be what's available kind of situation, if that makes sense.
It does.
Yeah, I mean, it's not. They don't just get lucky with just a vision teacher. They'll get lucky if the teacher has a dual certification, if that makes sense.
It does. Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I will say this to any viewers that have had a vision teacher that has had their dual certification. Shout out to you guys, because more teachers need dual certifications, especially for those who have spatial concepts that need to be looked at, especially if a person is completely blind or legally blind. I honestly feel that more teachers should get their certifications in mobility. So that way they just don't have the one certification in vision teaching / instruction. They can do the vision teaching, but also give guidance for mobility as well. NFB can also provide individuals with adaptive technology. They can also recommend that students go to a training center. I'll name a few. Louisiana Center for the Blind, CCB, also known as Colorado Center for the Blind, located out of Littleton, Colorado. Some of you might ask where Louisiana Center for the Blind is located. It's located out of Ruston, Louisiana. They're in Central Time like us. The difference, though, with CCB is that they are in, I believe, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but they are in Mountain Time.
So they are an hour behind where we are.
Yes, that's correct. I have had friends who have went to CCB, and I've had friends who have went to LCB. Now, some of you might ask a question: has any abuse happened within the Federation?
That was going to be my next question.
Okay, I beat you to it.
Yeah, you did.
Okay, that's your question. Go ahead.
So, are you wanting me to ask it and then you'll answer it?
Yeah, go ahead. You can ask.
So, has any abuse actually happened within the Federation?
Not personally with me, but from what I've heard, based on what I've gathered. Now, I actually used to talk to somebody who used to follow the NFB. They no longer follow the organization anymore because they moved to another state, and plus they got involved with ACB, which is labeled respectively as American Council.
The American Council of the Blind.
They got involved in their student division. Yeah, abuse has happened. A lot of times it can happen when a person, such as a female, goes to a training center. There has been several cases of abuse that has happened. One training center that really started to go viral with a lot of abuse cases was LCP. Now, I will say this to anybody who is going to a training center. I mean, it doesn't just happen with females. It can also happen with males too, meaning the abuse can happen. So it's not a one-sided thing. If you guys go to a training center, you know, this is what I strongly encourage for anybody. Only go if you want to go. Don't let people force you to go, because at the end of the day, it's about what the person feels comfortable with and not what decision makers feel comfortable with.
The person, in other words, you.
Yes, you and only you. Now it's one thing if you want to go and get the training of orientation and mobility and spread your wings as well as cooking. But as far as like Braille instruction from a training center, I look at it like this. I mean, anybody who knows Braille, like if a new person is new to blindness,
yeah,
they can learn Braille from other people that know it very, very fluently. In fact, one thing that an NFB representative can do is they themselves that have been blind for a long time, they could come and actually teach the student Braille. In fact, I'm friends with somebody who is within the Kansas City Metro. She actually was having some trouble with getting Braille instruction within her public school.
Yeah.
And the president, such as Mrs. Wright, she came and she helped the student with Braille. And she has been very, very helpful. Not to mention, she actually helped out with a program called the Bell Academy program, which Kansas City does offer students services from that program. Shout out to the Bell Academy. NFB.
Now, what is the Bell Academy program? Can you go into that a little bit?
Sure. Bell Academy is kind of like Delta Gamma, but the difference is that it's like ESY at a blind school. The difference is, though, Bell Academy is held at different places. I actually talked to somebody who I went to a program with that St. Louis Society for the Blind and Lighthouse for the Blind out of St. Louis had created. It's called SOAR, and SOAR stands for Summer Orientation Adapted Living Resource Program. It's a 3-week-long program held at Webster Groves, Missouri, and held at Webster University. Shout out to the director, Kevin Hollinger, because he does a lot of accommodating for students. The program is...
Now, is that for certain... I'm sorry to interrupt again, but is that for certain age groups, or is that for all ages?
It is only for certain age groups. So the ages that it starts at is from 15, and then the ending for people is up to 21.
Okay.
So it's basically 15 to 21.
Yeah.
Those that are legally blind, it's 15 to 21. I mean, anybody who is legally blind, completely blind, or nearsighted, it's still 15 to 21.
Yeah.
Now, here's the catch, though. Anybody who applies to that program, they have to qualify in order to meet the criteria. So basically, what I mean is there are forms, and I'll get into that in a second. But what I was going to say was shout out to Kevin Hollinger. He has provided a lot of students great help, and he finds a lot of great individuals to teach the classes, such as careers, etiquette, clothing management, orientation and mobility,
technology.
I don't think they have a course for adaptive technology, but I mean, adaptive tech does come in for mobility.
Yeah.
Money management is one of the classes. Home management, kitchen management, cooking, really just all the classes that were named. Even careers instruction, like careers exploration is what I meant to say.
Mm-hmm.
There's that course too. Now, some of you might ask, does people have to take a foreign language exam if they have to go to the program? I've heard that they sometimes have to. Now, I've heard that individuals who are in that program, I think, like, have to take an ACT test or something at the high school.
Oh,
I can't remember. I don't remember because a lot has changed. I went to SOAR in 2017. I'll get into my experiences with that, but basically, the program is where you just get to go and experience what it's like to really be in a college dorm independently, and you can basically, in a way, kind of think of it as you being on your own. The difference, though, with the program is you don't go home on the weekends. You stay in the dorm all 3 weeks, like if it's, like 5 days out of the week and then the weekends. So it's basically 21 days long.
And you're in the dorm all that time.
Yep, that's correct. Now, you do have different activities, which we'll go into in a little bit. But to go back to the reapplyment, such as the reapplying for the program, basically, Lighthouse for the Blind and St. Louis Society for the Blind, they ask you a number of different questions. The questions are entitled how good your mobility skills are, how good you're able to cut with utensils, how good are you when it comes to careers, money management, home management, like how good are you managing stuff at home, like your cleaning supplies, kitchen equipment, how good are you cooking things independently. And basically it's like a survey. It's an evaluation survey that all the instructors from every domain have to have done. Like that first week that you're there, basically, it's all about evaluation. So it's like a 5-day time frame.
Excuse me. Now,
times depending longer. It depends on how they're able to get through everything. It just depends on the
Now, do you complete that survey over the phone, online? How does that work?
So basically, when anybody reapplies through Lighthouse, applications are posted on Lighthouse for the Blind's website, which is lhbindustries.com, I believe. I don't know, but I believe it's lhbindustries.com.
I will link that below, you guys, if you're curious.
Yeah, if anybody new is interested in going to that program, definitely, to anybody who's still in the public school, definitely tell your vision teacher. Lighthouse for the Blind also has a YouTube channel, which will be linked below. There are actually going to be several YouTube channels that will be linked.
There will also be a big community post listing everything.
Yes, Freedom Scientific can also be listed. I'm sure some things from HIMSS and Humanware will be listed too. Alpha Point Association for the Blind can be listed as well. So basically, you guys will have a lot of different resources. And if there's any other ones that I'll think of during this one, I'll be sure to bring it to Daniel's attention.
Any resources mentioned, as long as I can find a website or something for them, will be linked below.
Yep. And if you ever need resource recommendations, definitely leave a comment below. The recommendations are only going to apply to individuals that are on the verge of transitioning from high school up into the vocational programs, such as with VRC, Rehab Counseling Services for the Blind.
Mm-hmm.
As far as your question goes, the surveys are not done over the phone. They are done in person when a student is in a domain. So let's just say, for instance, one other class I forgot to mention, self-care. They also ask, how good are you with taking care of yourself as far as hygiene goes? The class is called Self-Care and Hygiene.
Now, that's like showering, bathing, brushing your teeth.
Doing your hair, putting perfume on.
If you're a female.
All that stuff involves hygiene, including learning how to put, sorry if this is TMI, but learning how to fasten a bra, or utilizing basically just anything involving hair products or clothing products, basically. It will even go so far as to ask you, like utilizing sunscreen is one of them, because when you go outside for mobility lessons,
bug spray.
Yes, that too. Sunscreen, bug spray, sunblock, whatever form the stuff is in, the
makeup.
Self-care instructor.
Makeup.
Yeah, even with those who can see. They'll ask you if you know how to do makeup or
eyeliner.
Yep, all of that. Mascara. Oh, yeah.
Sorry for the TMI references here, guys.
It's okay. This is what they ask. I mean, that's the point of self-care, is they want to know what products you are able to use. I mentioned perfume because I'll be honest with a lot of you guys, I love perfume from Bath and Body Works. So they basically go through the whole spiel, or as I've started saying, glockenspiel, basically. And you'll have a couple of different choices, and the instructor or whoever it is that is in charge of the survey will basically say, do you know how to do a task a little bit, a lot, or just a tiny bit? It's basically like multiple choices.
Or even not at all, right?
Exactly, yep. They'll have that too. Basically, they'll do the surveys in paper form, or they'll have it in electronic form, such as an electronic Word document format.
Or Braille, or...
Well, the student won't do that, but if it's the instructor who's cited, then they'll do it in whatever form it is that they're going to have to read it in.
Yeah.
Now, what I say was, as far as...
When you're done with that thought, I want to go into another question.
Sure, okay. As far as mobility goes, I will say this. Now, some of you might ask, can an intern, such as an orientation and mobility intern, can they help a student put sunscreen on? No, they cannot do that. They cannot touch somebody that has sunscreen on. Why that is, I don't know, but I was told.
Can they instruct you on how to do it, and can they watch you do it?
No, they can't do that. I mean, when I was at the program, they would go to the self-care instructor and say, hey, so-and-so is really not sure how to use sunscreen. Can you maybe work with that person on how to apply it properly? Now,
that's what I'm saying. Can the instructor do it with you?
Yeah, like the self-care instructor can do that with you. They can guide you hand over hand. It's just the mobility specialist intern that can't do that for whatever reason they can't. Now, if they're trained to, work with an individual with ADL skills, it's one thing. But if they're just getting a degree in mobility, then they're not supposed to touch people.
Makes sense.
Why? I don't know.
That's so weird.
Yeah, I know. Because when I was at the program, I asked my intern, Kristen, if she could help me, and she's like, oh, we're not supposed to touch people who need help with that. Meaning what she meant by that was she cannot put her hands, say, on the student's arms or shoulders and, rub the sunscreen in onto their skin. That's what I mean.
So then they also can't, and sorry if this is repeating,
okay.
So then they also can't watch the student do it by hand while they're verbally explaining.
They can, they can give verbal instructions, and they'll recommend.
That's what I meant when I asked earlier, can they help you do that? Can they verbally instruct you, take this lid off, put your hand on the bottle?
Yeah, okay, I'll give you an example. Yes, they can verbally instruct, but they can't physically. They
cannot physically assist.
Right. That has to be done via the self-care instructor. If the person who is taking self-care, that's the instructor's job to kind of physically go in there and show them, hey, this is where you need to apply
But they can verbally talk you through the process if that's what you need.
Yes, they can, okay, for instance, if you have a spray bottle with no lid, and if you turn the nozzle spray a certain way, that's unwrapping, or not really unwrapping, but more so unscrewing the cap. The difference is, though, if it's just a spray bottle that turns a certain way, you can spray it, but then when you turn it, let's just say to the left, then the nozzle will not activate.
That makes sense, because it's basically locked.
Yes. So it's basically an unlock and lock bottle. And those bottles, I will say, for instance, I had one that was Water Babies sunscreen. Shout out to Water Babies. They are awesome. The scent smells good. That sunscreen spray bottle, I believe, was an ESPN 50, and I think that was recommended via the doctor. I can't remember. But I know some bottles will have, a letter and then a number on the bottle. So again, ESPN 50, those are good to keep in mind about, because the instructor will at least know, hey, this is what's recommended from the person's primary care doctor.
Sorry, can I go into another question?
Sure.
So the next question I have, and we got into NFB in general, but my viewer wanted to know, what is it like if you've ever been to one at an NFB convention?
Okay, I myself have not been to a convention. I have only been to virtual ones. To clarify, I have not been to an in-person convention.
Well, you can still explain.
Basically,
in other words, you've only been on Zoom.
Yeah, if you've been to a convention on Zoom, it's basically as though you're in a training center, but the difference, though, is that you're just listening to general sessions and presentations from individuals such as longtime members who have been in the organization. If it's older members or kind of in the mix between newer and older members.
Can you talk today?
I'm nervous today.
Well, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to put you on the spot.
It's okay. We can add levity to this. Basically, it's like going to a conference in general. You get to sit in and you get to hear how a person has been successful in the organization. And if that means like from a board member or other chapter presidents, mainly convention is for those that live in Missouri. Now, for those that, if it's like a state convention, then it's only for members who are within your state. But
now, there is a national convention that's held every year.
Yes.
And that's basically the same thing at an international level.
Yeah, so the international is like worldwide, basically. And that is like, that's like going to, how do I say this? That's like going to a college tour per se, but the difference is though, you're dealing with newer, older, and slightly newer members. You also
and there's a lot of hands-on too.
Yes, exactly. There's a lot of hands-on.
Like when it comes to technology.
Yes.
They allow you to play with whatever it is they're demonstrating. Like, say you want to look at it, you absolutely can do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And if that means, like, okay, for instance, the device, the Braille Sense U2 from HIMSS, they come in different cell formats. Like, okay, the one I have is a 32, where it's 32 cursor buttons.
Yep, and 32 Braille cells.
Yes, exactly. And
shout out to HIMSS Inc. You guys are amazing.
Yep. Yep, exactly. They just came out with the Braille Sense 6 here recently.
Yeah, I heard a lot of the hype about it.
They also, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, but they also have a thing on the YouTube where you can access VNC Viewer. I don't know how accessible the app is, but I hear it's an app.
It works reasonably well. I've used it before.
Okay. I've never used VNC Viewer. I've just only heard a little bit about that.
VNC Viewer, if you're curious, is what allows you as the sighted person through your phone or tablet of choice, whatever that may be, iPad, Kindle, what have you, to look at the Braille display of whatever note taker the blind person might be using. So in Savannah's case, the Braille Sense, or in my case, the Braille Note. Touch or Apex.
Hi. I'm back. Hi. And we have someone here who actually uses the Braille Note Touch. Oh. Yep.
We're doing a video talking about Savannah's experience with the NFB. I had a viewer request it.
Yeah. Oh. Yep.
So, anyway, back to what I was saying. So VNC Viewer is what allows the sighted teacher, parent, or whatever the case may be, colleague, to basically look at the Braille display of that device through the screen of their phone.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Wirelessly.
Yep.
It's pretty magical how that works, not gonna lie.
And a vision teacher can also look at that too.
That's what I'm saying. Teacher, professional,
anybody
parent,
that has eyes. That works.
the sighties,
The
as we call them.
The sighties. I like that.
Well, yeah. Anybody who's trained to assist with people that are dealing with blindness or low vision.
Yeah.
And
Anyway, back to convention.
Yeah, convention. Some members call convention meeting season, basically where they can get together and meet other people.
Meeting season, I love that.
Meeting season, that's cute.
Yeah, some people within the Federation, and again, I'm not here to like bash it. Some people could take meeting season as, okay, if you're a female, some people could take meeting season as getting into, like, getting super, super close with a female physically.
Oh.
And what I mean by that is there are a lot of men that like to be touchy-feely with a lot of females. Not all, but some, you know, some people will be touchy-feely.
Guilty as charged. I used to be that way too.
Right.
It's
Guilty as charged. 100%.
Yeah. So basically, convention in a nutshell is like,
I mean, I was never weird, but you know, I would.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, the Power Up Conference here in my county. Only difference though with Power Up is that this conference only applies for those that are learning new features with adaptive technology. With the national convention, there's a banquet for pretty much almost the nights that they're there for the convention. And then what's cool about the banquets is they'll have awards as they're eating dinner, and then students within the student division will get scholarships if they've been accepted to college to get a degree in whatever degree it is that they like to be assisting people in. So it's really just about learning what you want to do for the future every year as you meet new people.
And that makes a lot of sense. And I want to ask, for any people that might potentially want to look at joining the NFB, do you have any advice or any tips you would give before the new person applies?
Sure. So my advice to anybody is, if you feel like somebody is making you feel uncomfortable or trying to pressure you in something that you don't feel comfortable with, like if you have a chapter president that you're close with, or if you have a friend who is related to your chapter president, definitely pull your friend aside and confide in your friend and let your friend know how you're really feeling, because
that's why they're there.
At the end of the day, yeah, exactly. That's why they're there, is so they can get your feedback. Because at the end of the day, it's all about you and what you feel comfortable with. Now, I know that, you know, I mean, because everybody has good experiences when they go to a training center. It's different for everybody. Some go, they love it, and then some go and they really, really, really have a hard time with what they've learned.
Do you mean like places like CCB?
Yeah.
0 hours, 43 minutes. Stop button. Stop.
Because with CCB, they want you to try to be as independent as much as possible. And when a person is there at CCB, that is when Colorado has their convention as well. So trainees that are attending the training program will actually get to go to a convention. Like if they've never been to a convention before, and if they go to CCB, CCB grants them the opportunity to go and experience what it's like to actually be at an in-person convention. Now,
That's cool.
to anybody going to CCB, I will say that they do believe in the NFB philosophy, and they will always encourage, or at least try to encourage a student or an adult to use an NFB cane. Me personally, I know some of you might ask, have you ever tried using an NFB cane?
That was going to be my next question.
Oh wow, apparently It's okay. Me personally, I've never used an NFB cane because I've always heard that canes can break very easily.
Yeah.
And if that cane breaks, then if a person wants a new one, they have to pay out of their own pocket to get one from the NFB.
And how much is that, do you know?
Definitely a lot of money. I'll say this, maybe not enough money for an arm and a leg, but it's definitely bucket.
It's not cheap. Let's put it that way.
Exactly. It's not cheap. So me personally, if your caretaker, and I'm saying this to anybody who has been encouraged to go to a training center, if your caretaker doesn't want you to use the NFB cane, it is the caretaker's job to let the training center know, hey, I want my child to use his or her folding cane because their mobility instructor has taught him or her to fold the cane up and learn how to fold the cane up. Now, I know
It's very convenient.
Well, it is, and the thing is, NFB is good, but what they try to do is they'll try to get you to try to ask the question of what are you to do if you lose your vision.
Well guys, that about does it for this Daniel Summerall Productions video. I hope you've enjoyed it, and if you have, please be sure to give a like, share, comment, and subscribe for more. If you have any requests for videos you'd like me to film, please post them in the comments below, and I will happily film them. If you have any questions about what I covered in today's video or in any of my other videos, please leave them in the comments below, and I will happily answer them. Until next time, thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye, y'all. Oh, and I almost forgot. Our royalty-free music comes to us from audionautics.com. That's spelled AUDIONAUTIX.com. Go check them out, and if you can, tell them Daniel Summerall sent you. This has been a Daniel Summerall YouTube video presentation. Thanks for watching, everyone.